Hey guys, welcome to the bonus episode of the Hold On To Your Butts podcast. In this bonus episode, we are going to break down the Game of Thrones Season 7 premiere coming out this Sunday. In studio with me this week, I've got my good friend Joe and John, even joined by Kendall, to go over some of our theories for Game of Thrones Season 7. Sit back, crack open a cold one, and enjoy. Hold On To Your Butts bonus episode.
Hold on to your butt.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hold On To Your Butts bonus episode for the week. Our Game of Thrones preview show. I have ditched those losers, Wyatt and Blev and Buddy, and brought in some experts. The two most formidable Westeros knowledge holders that I know. I've got my good friend John.
What up?
And my good friend Joe.
Hey, guys.
So, guys, before we get into it, tell me a little bit about yourselves, our listeners who might not know you guys. John was on our show earlier this week, if you listened to our episode number 18, I believe it was, and he was just a voice in the background that kind of ended up being sort of our resident porn expert, which was great. I mean, really added a lot to the episode, but now we got him a mic, we got him headphones, and he's locked in. So John, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you geek out about, and why do you love Game of Thrones so much?
So what I geek out about normally is beer, for one.
We're drinking beer.
Huge beer geek. But Star Wars, and then any kind of like high fantasy, so things like Lord of the Rings, obviously Game of Thrones, that's why I'm here. Pretty much anything I can get my hands on, really.
That seems like a good, like, 1-to-1. If you're a Tolkien fan, you're gonna like Game of Thrones. Is that pretty much par for the course, you think? Or?
For the most part. I mean, they're kind of in the same vein. You wouldn't have Game of Thrones if it wasn't for Tolkien. So, yeah, probably.
A super naive question, but when did the Tolkien books come out? When did Lord of the Rings first get released? The Hobbit was first, right?
No. They were post-World War II, because a lot of the inspiration from Tolkien came from sites he was seeing in war Europe.
Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking like 1940s maybe. I'll get back to you on the exact date.
So a while before.
A long time ago.
Okay. And so Game of Thrones, actually just realized this recently, is, for all intents and purposes, and great literary timeline, was the mid-90s, so pretty relatively recently, right? I mean, 96, I think, was when the first book came out.
About 20 years ago.
Wow.
I mean, even if you're looking at other book series, you've got Raymond E. Feist and his large saga, starting with The Magician, that was even in the 1980s. So it's fairly new on the fantasy landscape, yeah.
Awesome. And Joe, what do you geek out about, man, and why Game of Thrones?
Hey fellas, yeah, thanks for having me, Brogan. First time, long time. Geek out for sure about Game of Thrones. I'm really not a big TV guy, but this show has my heart and soul. It's pretty much like a sit your ass down at 9, get HBO up and hit it. Love the Marvel movies, love their cinematic universe as they've gone. Love some Batman.
You are in the conversations that I've had with you, you're a rewatcher, big time.
Huge.
Because I know you've rewatched a lot of the Marvel movies, and beyond that, you've rewatched Game of Thrones how many times?
Yeah, I think I've seen the series like 3 times now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, rolling through. I think I watched 6 for the 3rd time recently just to catch back up. But yeah, love watching the Marvel movies too. I think you like pick something up every time you watch it, especially with something so big and so many characters. Yeah, love it.
So do you find yourself catching things, it probably goes without saying, but catching things your second time around in Game of Thrones, third time around Game of Thrones that you missed the first time?
Yeah, we like talk randomly to people and they're like, oh my god, do you know what that dude's name is? I was like, yeah, after you watch it once and then you like pick back up, you're like, you have to know who these people are because they come and go through the story and they're so important throughout. So like, yeah.
I've noticed, so my wife and I started watching Game of Thrones, I think it was like maybe a year after it started. We were like catching up on season 1 just because we'd heard so many good things about it. And we watched the first season, but my wife has this like unbelievable ability to fall asleep the second you turn the TV on. And Game of Thrones just could not hold her attention, but she really, God love her, wanted to try. And so she was really trying, but she'd fall asleep. I'd finish the episode, and then we'd inevitably have to rewatch it because she missed out on so many things. But it actually ended up really benefiting me in that first watch, because I picked up on all the different characters that you had to track, and this was when I had to wait a week in between each episode. We eventually fell off for whatever reason, and then we picked it back up last year and burned through season 2 to 6 to where we are now. And I think that gave me a huge advantage of understanding the story when you're binge watching it, because you can sort of follow it and know, okay, I know exactly where we left this character, even though we haven't seen him for 2 episodes. And that's sort of that inherent benefit of binge watching, right? Is that you're really in tune with the story the whole way. But now it's been a year and a half since the last
little over
a year.
They delayed the shooting to get just the sun right.
Yeah, shout out to global warming. Okay, cool. So that's sort of our background, where we are in Game of Thrones. Let's just jump right into it, boys. Let's see if well let me just sort of outlay this for our listeners here for the show today. What we're going to do is sort of talk about where are they now. So talk about where our main characters are and what alliances are building as we sort of can all converge on Westeros and all converge on King's Landing for the battle for the Iron Throne, and then also just talk a little bit about maybe our predictions for season 7. So to kind of toss out, we'll keep track of them and see who ends up being right at the end of season 7. Kind of keep score and make it a game in that way, and a couple other fun games. So with that said, let's just sort of jump right in. Where is everybody? Let's start with the North. I think the North, to me, is the most intriguing part of all of this. We just watched a trailer breakdown for Season 7, and we've got Jon Snow, obviously the King of the North, as decided on at the very end of Season 6. And tell me who's converging on Jon right now? Who do we have sort of coming into the fray for the North?
Yeah, obviously we've got the White Walkers and the Whites north of the Wall. Mm-hmm. We also have Bran and Mira coming to the Wall. So those are some interesting plot points and characters, which we really don't know a lot about Bran even yet still.
Where did we leave him? Where is Bran right now at the end of Season 6?
In the middle of nowhere.
Is he still, right after Hodor? Is he still sort of in that nowhere land after Mira drags him, or Benjen? No, Benjen just dropped him off close to the Wall, mm-hmm. right? I mean...
It's either just north of the Wall or just south of the Wall. I can't quite remember where, but definitely working towards Winterfell.
Okay.
So probably south of the Wall, I would imagine.
So we're barreling toward a Stark reunion here. I mean, for all intents and purposes, right? Because we've got Sansa and Jon together. Bronn is incoming. Where's Arya?
Yeah, Arya just finally needle dropped and said later Jaqen at the house. And,
Needle drop.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to start, get out of here, I'm ready to go. So, yeah, she's on her way, it sounds like, to the north. It looks like, from the trailer, to the north to meet up. It's going to be a Stark family reunion.
That's awesome.
Which might be kind of a really sad family reunion if you look at it. But, yeah, I'm really ready for the White Walkers to finally be introduced to the rest of the land. It feels like for a long time that's been the random story that's out there in the abyss that people don't really know yet, and it's when do they just finally get south of the Wall, because that's when chaos is going to start.
What is there anything currently stopping the White Walkers from crossing the Wall other than the Wall itself? Is there any sort of mystical force or something that prevents them from crossing it, or is it literally just the Wall that's standing between them and the south of the Wall?
Pretty sure it's just the Wall. Okay. And I mean, the Night King is definitely just trying to raise the largest army of whites he possibly can. Doing a pretty good job of it, too. So, yeah, I think it's just the Wall, really, and distance. I mean, you move that numerous of a body, and it takes time to do that. So I think it's really building up to that. And I think it'll be really exciting to see what happens. I remember from the trailer we were watching, it looked like there was a group heading out from the Wall. Mm-hmm. And definitely Jon Snow. We know Jon Snow's there. Tormund is in that
shout out
group.
to Tormund. I love Tormund, man. I think he's one of my favorite characters.
His questioning eyebrows that he always sends over to Brienne. Those are my favorite.
I forgot about that latent sexual tension between Brienne and Tormund.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I totally forgot about that.
So he's definitely there. And could be a couple other characters heading north of the Wall with Jon, but exactly what they're doing, we can only speculate, really.
Yeah, as a non-book reader, I'm not sure, but it sounds like there's some like little trickles of the fact that there's magic in the wall. And if you look at like the Three-Eyed Raven and where he was holed up and how the White Walkers couldn't make it into his home until Bran was touched by the Night King.
Yeah.
It sounds like that storyline kind of plays now because it's like, well, if Bran is just north of the wall and he comes through the wall, then is the Night King and all of his army going to be able to make it through the wall without going over the wall?
And that read to me like a bigger moment too. I agree with you that sort of physical touch between the Night King and Bran, like the way that that old wog Christopher Plummer, the way that he reacted to finding out that did he actually touch you, like that seemed bigger. Yeah, that seemed like that was sort of the key and the next step on the White Walkers sort of approach to the wall. Yeah,
I think when a dude who's sitting in a tree for thousands of years tells you like, what the hell did you just do, there's a problem. Right?
You gotta assume that guy knows exactly what he's talking about. Okay, so to recap so far, in the north we've got Jon, we've got Sansa, we've got Jon, Sansa, Tormund,
Davos.
Davos
is there.
Davos, man, Davos is the man. Davos might be my favorite character on Game of Thrones, actually. Shout out to my wife who just got in here
And dropped food.
Dinner. That dinner looks amazing. Enjoy that. Okay. So Davos, G with Melisandre's? No,
Melisandre's further south.
got
She's
booted.
working her way. She's somewhere close to the Riverlands is kind of where we left her. Where she's going, we're not quite sure. And let's also not forget Peter Baelish.
He's in the north, whispering in Sansa's ear.
With the Knights of the Vale, who saved Jon Snow during the Battle of the Bastards.
Right. Or more likely saved Sansa's brother. I think, it's sort of like the underlying tension. So, do we think long term Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, is going to ally with the North? Or at some point, is he going to make his own play on the throne? Because I think that's sort of been some of the subtext of the recent seasons, too.
Yeah, he feels sneaky to me. He doesn't feel like he has alliances that don't just benefit him. If he's like ready to turn on a dime, he'll do it. You know, there's like a lot of historical opportunities for that with like Lyanna Stark and whatnot. Back in the day, if you will. Seems so long ago at this point. But I feel like he's a big wild card because he wants to be powerful, but he's never really been the guy, right? He's always the guy in the background, so we'll see where that lands.
Yeah, he's never had like the birthright
yeah.
en route to the throne, and so he's had to play the political game the whole way.
He's done a really good job of it, too. I mean, he caused all of this to happen, basically.
Yeah. So is there anybody we're forgetting in the north? We've got Davos, Jon...
so Arya's on her way.
Right?
It sounds, and Sansa's there.
The Hound is also out there, and that is a popular
sounds
theory.
Like the Hound and Thoros and the band of
the
Three
Brotherhood
Men,
Without
the
Banners.
Brotherhood Without Banners.
Yeah.
It looks like they're kind of making their way north, maybe.
Yeah, they're in the Riverlands, right? That's sort of like the land that's in between, that connects, the land that sort of connects all these different places, right? And I think Arya is making her way through the Riverlands, as well as the Hound. And the Riverlands is also where River Run was last season, which is the castle that Blackfish was holding. What's his name? Walter Frey. Walter Frey had sent some people to sack that castle, and they couldn't do it, so Jaime Lannister had to come do it. That's where fucking Edmure, who is the worst? God, I hate Edmure so much, right?
The question of where they are is so difficult because everybody apparently had a teleporter, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm here for a while," and then at the end of the season, they just like panned out, and everybody's in different places. Like Jaime's back at King's Landing now, even though his army just took over River Run, right?
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Varys was popping around, like from
all over the
Daenerys
place.
all the way out. Yeah, okay, cool. So the North, I think, has maybe the most intriguing alliances starting to build, and like the dream team. I think the other big theory is that somehow Gendry comes back this season. We haven't seen Gendry since the end of season 3 when he rode off in his boat and is doing God knows what, but he has maybe the most legitimate claim to the throne, right?
Yeah.
Of anybody who's out there.
Kind of depends on what legitimate claim means.
Right, who you align with, I suppose. Yeah.
I think he's fascinating because again, him and Podrick seem to be really eyed characters, but like very minimal screen time, and I feel like they both have connections to people or bloodlines for some specific reason. And obviously, Gendry is a great